Basements, the most underestimated spaces in our homes. Often used for storage, they've also become the final resting places for some tortured souls. Between flickering lights and the slow drip of water, spirits cry out, forever trapped. You might think it's fiction, but these are real encounters shared by those who lived through them. I saw the fear in their eyes and heard it in their trembling voices. The chilling air whispering past your ears carries a haunting eeriness. Join us as we delve into these true tales of terror and dark depths, true stories of basement horrors that defy explanation. Story 1. The Soldier. I'm Megal. At 9, we moved to a house on 78th Street and Boulevard East in North Bergen. A charming home with a backyard surrounded by children and friendly neighbors. Next door, peaches from a neighbor, playmates nearby, and James Braddock, the Cinderella Man, up the hill. I loved my new street. But apart from the beautiful environment we had, our house held a dark secret. A ghost in the basement. From the moment we moved in, I knew he was there. I saw him or felt his presence in certain areas. My parents dismissed my fears, thinking I just wanted to avoid chores. I would cry, "There is a ghost in the basement. Really, there is a ghost. I am not making it up." Nothing changed their minds. Over time, I just accepted the ghost. He never hurt me or did anything spooky. He was just there, in the basement and on the back stairs. As time passed, I reluctantly accepted the ghost's existence. He never harmed me or engaged in anything overtly supernatural. Instead, he became a quiet, unsettling companion in the basement and on the creaking back stairs. In an attempt to assert some control over the basement's eerie atmosphere, I created a sanctuary for my dolls and me, a safe haven amidst the unsettling vibes that plagued the space, especially on rainy days and during the somber hours of the night. As I grew older, my dreams often featured the ghost, a Revolutionary War soldier, I believed, trapped in our basement after meeting his untimely end in battle. This theory haunted me until one day during my high school years. My friends experienced his presence firsthand. Gathered in the kitchen one evening, laughter turned to terror when one of my friends screamed, pointing towards the basement stairs. "There is a man standing there," she cried out, her voice trembling with fear. Calmly, I reassured them, "Don't worry, that's just the ghost from the basement." Their terror was palpable as they fled, refusing to return to my home again. It made me confront the lingering peril that had always been with me. Even now, years later, thoughts of the ghost linger, wishing for his peace. But I can't help but wonder, do the current occupants of my childhood home sense his presence too? Story 2. The Basement's Dark Secret. I always thought something was off about my basement, but I had no idea how terrifying the truth was. Even now, as an adult living a happy life, I can't forget the creepy experience I had in my childhood. I am Cliff. I was 7 when my parents bought their first house. Compared to our cramped, dingy apartment, it was like a palace. I remember exploring it, thrilled to finally have my own room, no longer needing to share with my infant brother. Then I found the basement. Unlike the rest of the house, it was cold and sterile, with ancient pipes winding grotesquely and rough cement underfoot. The stairs, surrounded by mismatched drywall, seemed odd, especially one discolored section. When I knocked on it, a hollow sound echoed, chilling me to the bone. As we settled in, I grew comfortable, everywhere except the basement. It always unnerved me. I avoided it as best I could. Life was perfect otherwise, filled with my parents' love and care for me and my brother. While things were going well, suddenly, one day, the noises began. At night, I started hearing strange sounds echoing through the house. My parents reassured me it was just the house settling, typical for an older home, but my mind didn't settle. I couldn't shake the feeling that something was wrong, something lurking just out of sight. One night, I heard tapping from the basement while getting a snack. Terrified, I opened the door to find darkness. The hollow tapping echoed again, louder this time, sending chills down my spine. Terrified, I fled to my room. The next morning, the basement door was shut, though I distinctly remembered leaving it open. My parents blamed the hot water heater for the noises, but I knew better. A month later, my mother asked me to fetch socks from the basement. I hesitated but couldn't refuse. The hollow echo of my steps on the wooden stairs unnerved me as I descended into the dimly lit space. As I reached the dryer, a faint whispering started, so soft it was almost indistinguishable. It grew louder, filling the room with its eerie presence, but remained incomprehensible. The whispers seemed to emanate from under the stairs, a place I had always avoided. Frozen in place, I strained to understand the words until a loud, hollow bang shook the stairs, breaking the spell. I bolted upstairs, tears streaming down my face, and told my parents everything. They calmed me down but agreed not to send me down there again. From that day forward, the basement door remained closed, the unsettling presence below becoming a dark and unspoken part of our home. 3 months passed, and happiness returned. Then, on July 2nd, 1991, Jonathan, my little brother, went missing. We found a ransom note demanding $20,000 and warning us not to call the police. My parents argued but eventually decided to call them. Following the ransom instructions, they waited, but Jonathan never returned. Weeks passed, and our family fell apart. My mother, consumed by guilt, eventually took her own life. 20 years later, haunted by Jonathan's disappearance, I returned to the old, now vacant house. Fueled by curiosity and alcohol, I broke in and found the basement unchanged. Summoning all my courage, I smashed through the discolored drywall. Behind it, I found bones. Tiny skeletons without skulls, bite marks on a tiny forearm. Horror overwhelmed me. I discovered a trap door, revealing a dark tunnel. Crawling through, I found myself in the basement corner. The lights went out and someone began descending the stairs, whispering incomprehensibly. Terror gripped me as guttural noises shattered the silence. I fled, reaching the police station in a frenzy. The investigation revealed 30 children's remains. One was Jonathan. Though relieved to know his fate, we were haunted by the knowledge that the perpetrator was still out there. The lingering question that plagues me is whether the monster is real or just a metaphor. Either way, I pray I never discover the answer.